grab a cup of coffee, and meet your next favorite author. Nothing's off limit on Hot Seat.
Hi, viewers. We're here today with Kat MacKenzie, and she has a second release. It's Experiments in Offline Dating, and it drops August 25th. Hi, Kat.
Hi. Thank you both so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. I was mentioning off air how I just laughed my way through this book, Experiments in Offline Dating. First of all, tell us how you came up with this concept.
Thank you. Thank you so much for laughing. That's really my only goal with these books is just a laugh. Anything for a cheap laugh. That's my motto. I sold my first book, Work in Progress, to Avon a few years back now. And basically, as soon as it sold, I was like, I know what I'm doing next. I had heard that there was a matchmaking festival in Ireland once a year, every September. It's a whole month of September, and it's in this little village in County Clare. And the purpose of the festival, I think, initially was that farmers were coming in from the harvest and wanted to meet a bride, somebody. So the tradition still goes on, and these days there are a lot of people coming from across Ireland, but also Europe and America and everywhere else. It's still pretty small, though, depending on how you look at it. It's bigger than you expect for a tiny town, but also exciting and international. But anyway, I booked a flight.
The town is Lisdoonvarna.
Lisdoonvarna, yeah. And I booked a flight and went over, and I met the matchmaker, and and I had lived for a few months in Galway a few years before that. So I met up. I stayed for about 2 months for the research trip, and traveled around to all the places that I hadn't seen when I lived there before, and met up with some friends that I knew from Ireland, but also from Europe, who came over to see me, and we did some road tripping and hiking and dating and all sorts of things. So it was great. Then I came home and wrote the book.
So did you, because truly the main character, Maya, goes through so many awful dates, and old people, and people that just want to have sex, men that just want to have sex with her. I mean, all of it is just hilarious. Did you have those kind of dates?
I did. I have had lots of those kind of dates. So I have been single for a little while, and I had started dating online a few years back, and was surprised at how things had changed and kind of just the way things went. And so I've been on a lot of bad dates. So I had an entire well of research to pull from for this book. But also I did specifically go on some dates in Ireland that were similar to the dates in my book. So technically the second date she goes on with the man in the van, that happened to me basically start to finish.
Ooh,
so with some slight variations, but similar issues. And there were some other similar dates. So
well, I think if somebody had said to me, you need to write a book about matchmaking and dating and the really, really bad dates that can go on for an entire novel, I would have been able to come up with maybe 3. You were like a stand-up comedian of bad dating.
I could have done another 100. I'll be honest. I could have kept going. We could keep going now. I will say to you, probably the best story that I had, which I thought for sure would go in this book, didn't end up going in. And in the end, it was just a time constraint. It hadn't fit organically, and I was going to go in and retrofit it. And then it didn't fit for it's already a pretty heavy word count.
Yeah.
So my my favorite story didn't go in the book. I'm very sad to say. But
That's too funny. Well, no,
But I'm free to tell it if and whenever you like.
well, we forgot to tell you that we have a happily ever after HEA hot seat question at the end. So
Oh, okay. So maybe that's the
we
time.
have time for that. That's right.
Okay.
I'm taking all the time. Laura, go ahead.
So, Tadhg, is that, how do you say his name?
You say Tadhg, and it's one of the very many difficult to pronounce Irish names in the book, because when I was in Ireland, oftentimes they're original Irish names, Irish Gaelic, and so they're very difficult to pronounce. Certainly if you read them, you can almost never know how to say them. You have no idea. It's almost like entirely different from what it looks like it'll sound like. So yeah, so I certainly made a point to add in lots of traditional Irish names in the book, because I think that's one of the best parts of traveling there. Like all of these names that you can't spell and you don't understand, and why does Maeve have a B and an H and a G in it? It doesn't make sense. So
Siobhan. I'm like, that's not at all Siobhan.
yeah. So it's Tadhg. It's Tadhg, and it looks like tagged, kind of. But it's Tadhg.
Well, and he was hilarious, and I mean the whole deal with her going on that first date and thinking that insulting him was the way to go. It was really a lot of fun, and she was a fun character because she's so awkward.
She is a little awkward, yes, and she knows it, so she's aware, but she can't help it. Especially when
she starts a podcast because she's that awkward.
She just knows. She's like, well, may as well use it.
It was fabulous. And
oh,
fabulous.
Good. I really wanted her to embrace that, because I thought, like, if she's on this dating podcast and she's been on so many dates and they always end terribly, like at some point that's going to wear you down. So I really wanted to give Maya joy from the ridiculous dating and give her a strong backbone and a strong sense of self-worth and security, because it could, that could be really hard for a lot of people, I think. But not for Maya.
Like how you showed how bad she is at conversing with men, and yet how scientific and data driven she is on trying to figure out how to have a perfect date. And so I've noticed in your bio that you have a science background. What did you do?
I do. I did biodiversity conservation. So I was an environmentalist for several years. And I also have a background in sociology and cultural anthropology. And that's also science-based.
Right.
So I used to be a scientist, and I thought when I started writing, I was like, oh, the science bits will be so easy. And I haven't done any of this in so long. And so I reached out to several of my friends, and they were like, Kat, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know how to do science anymore. I need help with these charts. So anyway.
Hence the title Experiments in Offline Dating. She was very scientific about it. It was very
still experimental.
Yeah.
So when you were traveling around Ireland, what were the places that you especially enjoyed and that ended up in the book?
Oh goodness, I love Ireland so much, and I lived for about 8 years in Scotland, and a lot of it is very similar, but also charmingly different. If you know them both, it's like the face of a lover, So, but I love, when I had lived there for 3 months prior, I had ended up rooming with a close friend of mine, Danny, who's still a friend of mine, and her family lives on Inishmore, which is outside an island, which they end up sort of being stranded on in a lovely little cottage. And I love that island. It's so beautiful, and cycling around, and all of the ruins and everything are there as I wrote them. And in fact, anything in the book that is named, so any kind of cafe, restaurant, pub, or shop, it's a real place that you can Google and go to if you'd like to.
Oh, I love it because
So,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed your descriptions, and I was wondering.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love to do that because travel is it's one of my, I'm a writer first, but traveler is a close second. And I love to travel the world. And so when I do research for books, I make sure I'm like eating all the food and drinking all the drinks and going to all the sites and writing about them. And I have had a lot of people tell me that they Google them and like have a look at the Google images and see what the pub looks like. And I just love that.
Yeah. And I think it really adds a richness,
Yeah.
that you
Oh,
get up.
thank you. I appreciate that.
So how did you get started writing? Because you were only 2 books in last
Mhm.
year, and then this year is your release, which drops in 2 weeks, is going to be your second novel. I mean, obviously you were a scientist, but how did you get Avon's attention? What happened?
Well, I always had a love for reading. I've always been a reader. And I've always wanted to write, but I never really did, and it always felt so out of reach. And then before I wrote Work in Progress, I was going through a bad divorce, frankly, and I was like, well, what? I need to reassess my life. I have a lot of good things, but there are a lot of things that I'd like to change. And I was like, if I could do anything of all the things, what would it be? And it was it was November, so it was NaNoWriMo. And I was like, oh, I'd always wanted to write a book. So so I started writing. And actually what I started writing was a very complicated anthropological, historical, dark, moody magical realism book, which is still in the drawer. That one day it's only about a quarter done, but one day hopefully I'll finish it. But I needed a break from that, and when I was like, I just want like a snacky, fun rom-com that I don't need to research. And I'd lived in Britain, so I wrote Work in Progress, and I was extremely lucky to get Jane Distel as my agent, and we got extremely lucky on sub, and yeah, so that was it.
Were you abroad when you wrote that, or you were in America?
No, I would go back and forth. I do still go back and forth for part of the year. Sometimes I leave the States for 4 or 6 months at a time. And I have a lot of friends overseas, or I'll go rent a place and stay over there. And then kind of go back and forth. So I did a bit of both, I guess.
Oh, because I was wondering, when we were starting out, Lark and I, 21 years ago, we had a support group called the West Houston Romance Writers, and
Yeah.
And I didn't know if you did this by yourself, or you just had a group that you could brainstorm with and critique with, and just be a writer, be a crazy writer with.
To begin with, I did it by myself, and I'm sure you're both aware how confusing and lonely a profession it could be. And I started reaching out to people and have made a lot of friends along the way. I initially started. It's a little complicated, but I did. One of my best friends from university is now a very big indie author, and we played around with editing some of her old books and trying them out for indie. So I would go to the 20 books to 50K indie conferences in Vegas, and I made a lot of lifelong author friends there. And then as soon as I got the trad deal, which was pretty much immediately after, I started making trad friends as well. So I'm happy to say I have both hybrid and indie and trad author friends, but we all kind of trauma bond. You know how authors are.
Sure.
The minute you meet somebody, or you're like, you're an author, that's all I need to know. New best friend.
And as long as you have your group, I was like, is she off by herself in Europe writing?
What would we do? And I guess most of us are like, we're all kind of flung across the map. So I find even when I'm traveling, most of my friends are virtual anyway. And even people that I've known for a long time in real life, we live far away, so we're communicating mostly, on WhatsApp or Instagram. So so I'm always in contact wherever I go.
and the Avon authors are very interactive. I know a lot of Avon authors who have become very close friends because they all write for Avon. So
yeah, I do have some close friends from Avon, so that's been a blessing as well. Yeah.
So what is next for you? What's coming up?
I'm not entirely sure if I can be honest. I finished actually a cozy fantasy rom-com that I'm very excited about, and my agent just went on sub with it, and I guess we'll kind of see. And I'm been talking to Avon as well about what might be next and kind of testing the waters. So I'm kind of in a strange, like I feel like I've been running for at least a year, and now I'm in this kind of, there's been maybe 2 months now that I haven't written anything, and I'm trying to catch up on everything in my life that has dropped, which was everything else, literally. But yeah, it feels a bit strange to not be writing at the moment. But yeah, just kind of, I guess, waiting to let the dust settle and see which direction I should start moving in.
Well, I would love to go into the HEA hot seat question, Lark.
Okay, and that is going to be, what was that date that
What
didn't
was
get
that
put
date?
in the
I'm
book?
trying. I'm aware that I only have 4 minutes. So one of the things that happened was that the matchmaker gave my phone number out to a bunch of men, and they didn't know, they had the wrong name, and they didn't know anything about me, or that I lived in America, that I was a writer, or that I was 40 at the time. Nothing at all. And I would just get these phone calls, and from men, a lot of them were farmers all over Ireland. And one day I was hiking with I had a best friend who's Swedish, Swedish doctor, and we were hiking, and I got this phone call, and she's like, "You have to take it." So I was like, "No, I'm hiking." Anyway, talk to the guy. I can tell a lot of the calls were from very older gentlemen. And I could tell straight away that this guy we were not in the same age group. Anyway, but I always want to be nice, So I was like, talk to him a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, I'm afraid I'm out hiking at the moment, but do feel free to text or whatever. And good luck to you. And he's like, they always say like, oh, no, I don't do the texting. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. Well, thanks so much for calling. Anyway, he calls again the next day, and he says, could I send him a photo? And I was like, well, that's just weird. But you know what? Maybe this is the nicest way to say to him, hey, I'm probably significantly younger than you are. And I was like, hey, okay, yeah, why don't I send a photo? And then we don't have to have that awkward conversation. So I said, like, do I text it to you? He's like, oh, no. And I said, well, do you want to send me an email address? He said, no, you'll have to send it in the post. And I was like, in the post, I don't carry around some headshots to mail to you. I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't have that to mail you. But I hope you can understand. And I said, why didn't I just tell you? I said, I've got brown hair. I'm 40. I'm pretty standard built, something like that. And he said, well, do you mind a bit of an age difference? And I said, how much difference are we talking here? And he said, well, I'm 72, but I don't mind the difference as long as you're fit and healthy.
Oh, no! I screamed, Grandpa.
I was very generous, I thought, to make me an offer anyway. And yeah, he had asked if I had wanted kids, and had said, there's still time for me to start a family with him. That's very sweet, but I think we might just be ships in the night this time.
This is absolutely comedy gold. I mean, you it's like you could be a stand-up comedian with this. Your book is fantastic. Give us your cover.
Oh, yes. Okay, I did. We pulled it up, and then I forgot all about it. And now I have to reopen it. Here we go. So it's Experiments in Offline Dating. And it comes out August 24th, as you said, 25th. I'm so sorry. I can't believe that. And my book that's out now is called Work in Progress. And it's about an American that goes on a 3-week literary bus tour around the UK and ends up on a bus with lots of older ladies and a very handsome Scottish driver. And so they just circle around the UK talking about books and movies and seeing all the beautiful castles, basically, and eating.
Love it.
Eating a lot of scones.
That
Thank you
sounds
so
like
much
fun.
for being our guest.
Thank you both. You've both been so lovely.
Oh, thanks. And Lark, you quick show your cover because you're releasing in 2 weeks.
Oh, congratulations. Oh my goodness.
Cover's live.
So
Wonderful.
Thank you for being with us. Please like, subscribe, and share.
Thank you both so much. I had such a nice time. I
thank you.
hope I see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.